Welcome back, everybody. I want to thank our previous colleagues for their presentations and the answer to the questions. And at 11:30, we are starting with the Horizon Europe Info Day Cluster 4, Destination 1, on climate neutral, circular, and digitized production. And my colleague Nicolas Deligiannakis, a policy coordinator from DGRTD, will take over the presentation on the Destination 1. Nicolas, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dimitri, and good morning once again. Before we start going over the topics of Destination 1, Twin Transition, let me say a few words about how Destination 1 works in general and how it is linked to Destination 2. Now, this morning, Peter Dröll already explained the concepts of open strategic autonomy and the twin green and digital transition that Cluster 4 serves. In particular, Destinations 1 and Destination 1 and Destination 2 that we're going to look at later today are about the green and digital, the twin green and digital transition and resilience. They're intricately connected. Can we have the next slide, please? So the Destination 1 is about the twin green and digital transition of industry. It contains topics for the manufacturing industry, the energy intensive process industries, including clean steel, and for construction. These are the topics that directly address the twin and digital transition, while Destination 2 complements this with the topics on raw materials, advanced materials, and other topics that are about a resilient industry. But of course, the two destinations work very closely together. The topics are standalone, and we will go over them for the rest of this morning and this afternoon. But there is an intricate link between the broader impacts of the two destinations, and that is also worth bearing in mind. Next slide, please. Let me now say a few words about features that you will find in many topics of Destination 1 and indeed Destination 2. And I will start with the reduced funding rates for some partnership topics. Now, in partnership topics that you will find in Destination 1 for the manufacturing industry made in Europe, for processes for planet, and for clean steel, the innovation actions in those partnerships have a funding rate of either 70%, which is for the with profit entities, which is a normal funding rate for innovation actions, but some have a funding rate of 60%, again for with profit entities only. And you will see that in the work program. Now, the reason for that is to optimize the contribution of industry in partnership topics, because of course partnerships are about an engagement with industry and obtaining leverage from industry on the investments that are made in these areas. And there was a pilot. The pilot started with a work program 21-22, when we had a number of topics with 60% funding rather than the usual 70%. And this pilot is continuing in the work program 2023-2024 and because it is a pilot, it is not applied to all innovation actions in co-funded partnerships, but in some of them. So we will continue to look at the effects of the pilot. Now, what is already clear is that first, indeed, the contribution of industry has increased. That is not surprising. And at the same time, we do not see an obvious reduction in interest in participating amongst industry, including SMEs. And that is one more reason why the pilot is continuing. To summarize, you will find some topics in 2023 and also in 2024 where the funding rate for with-profit entities is 60% rather than 70% for the reasons I explained. Let me now turn to the business cases and exploitation strategies that are often asked for in the context of topics both in Destination 1 and in Destination 2, Twin Transition and Resilience. Now, in many topics, you will see that there is a sentence saying that a business case and exploitation strategy are expected. What is expected is outlined in the introductions of the respective destinations. So you will see a few more details there about what constitutes a business case and exploitation strategy. This is not new. We had it in the first work program, 21-22, and indeed in Horizon 2020 in many of the predecessor activities. And it is very important for an industrial program for proposers to look at what is going to happen after the completion, the successful completion of a project. That is why we ask for this. The an exploitation plan, so it is simpler than that. But we do want proposers to identify needs, obstacles, and actions that are necessary in order to capitalize on the successful outcomes of the R&I projects that are funded under Horizon Europe. And also for technology readiness level 7, which of course is reached by several topics, we expect a credible strategy for full-scale deployment in the Union or in associated countries, as the case may be. Another thing that we recommend without making it mandatory in the case of the exploitation strategy is to look, where relevant, at skills that can be addressed through training material that can be initially developed in a project, but can then be upscaled, for example, through the European Social Fund. So this is a good example of an optional synergy. Now, can we stay on the previous slide for one more minute, please? Thank you. Now, in order to accommodate the business case and the exploitation strategy, a new feature in this work program is that for those topics that call for a business case and exploitation strategy, we have increased the maximum page limit by 3 pages. You will see that in each call that calls for the business case and exploitation strategy. The 3 pages are added to whichever limit applies to the topic as a whole. So if it happens to be a topic without lump sums, where the page limit is 45 pages, that becomes 48 pages. And if it happens to be a topic with lump sums, then the page limit of 50 pages becomes 53 pages. And for coordination and support actions, we do not ask for a business case. Next slide, please. And I think we are now ready to go over the various topics of Destination 1, the call Twin Transition, which is already open and has a deadline on the 20th of April 2023 for full proposals. It is a single stage call, and it's only the very last topic in this destination that is under a separate 2-stage call. Next slide. First, we're going to look at the 4 topics, Twin Transition 02, 04, 07, and 08, which are all about the Made in Europe partnership. And in one case, there is also a joint collaboration with a photonics partnership. So we're going to go over those 4 topics now. A colleague of mine and I will take you over the 4 topics, starting with 02, which is high precision or complex product manufacturing, potentially including the use of photonics. Let me now say a few general words about manufacturing in this work program. You may think that there is less attention to individual technologies compared to the previous work program, but that is because the new topics actually pursue a more systemic approach to manufacturing without neglecting individual technologies, the technologies that we might call factory level technologies. So the idea is to integrate technologies and with a view to serving the resilience of the manufacturing industry, manufacturing as a service, and also the circular economy. Now, the very first of the topics for 2023 is actually mainly a technology topic. And what we have done is to combine three issues in one topic. Now, proposers are free to address one or the other issue, and of course, they're free to opt to use photonic solutions or not. And we will use a so-called portfolio approach in order to make sure that proposals from all three technology areas will be funded. I will come to that. Now, the expected outcomes of the topic are to improve the competitiveness and the technologies for manufacturing industry, in particular high precision manufacturing or the manufacturing of products with complex geometries and structures. And this can include embedded electronics, optics, or photonics. It can include surface and surface functionalities, complex surfaces and surface functionalities, and multi-process manufacturing. So the overall expected outcome is to lead to high resilient and flexible production lines to enable highly customized products in a wide range of markets. Incidentally, all made in Europe topics are about all manufacturing sectors. And at the same time, achieve significant reductions in the use of materials, reductions in waste and defects, and energy consumption. Now, how does a balanced portfolio work? This topic has a total budget of 48 million, you see there, while the union contribution per project is 5 or 6 million. That means that about 8 projects are expected to be funded. Now, there will be a single evaluation process, but we will take at least 2 projects that address each one of the 3 technology areas to begin with, irrespective of their ranking, assuming, of course, they pass the thresholds. Once we have done that, we will probably have extra budget, and then we will take more projects for funding according to their ranking. That is how the balanced portfolio approach works. Now, you will see in the topic that it is possible to combine them. There is a big or between high precision or complex product manufacturing. But the interpretation is that proposers are free to combine the approaches if they wish. However, they should avoid combining the approaches simply to optimize their chances, because that is not going to work. What we want is to allow proposers to combine technologies where this makes sense. For example, you may want to use photonics for high precision manufacturing, but it is not advisable just to combine things artificially, just for the sake of having more of a chance, because that is not going to happen. And I hope it is clear how the balanced portfolio approach works. Finally, this is a topic, it's an innovation action, and in this case, it has a 60% funding that I mentioned earlier. Starts at TRL 5 and is expected to achieve TRL 7 at the end. That is a demonstrator in an industrial environment. Thank you. I think we can move to the next topic.
Hello, can you hear me? So let's move to the next topic. It's topic 04. This topic calls for both remanufacturing technologies at the factory level and their integration in the circular value chains. It's a topic under the co-program European Partnership Made in Europe. And what we want to see here, we want to see green and digital technologies supporting remanufacturing to achieve full industrial circularity. We refer to remanufacturing of both components and products, so to bring them back to their original or even improved state, while also skills and educational capabilities for the manufacturer are important in order to assist the workforce towards the circularity objective. It is important to define the term remanufacturing, and for that we have used the proposal for the regulation for the eco-design requirements for sustainable products, where it states remanufacturing is an industrial process in which at least one change is made to waste products or components affecting their safety, performance, purpose, or type. It's important to highlight that remanufacturing aims to retain the usefulness of both products and components without implying deterioration of the product. We also need to clarify that remanufacturing should not be focused only on the reuse of raw materials, but should focus on function, restore, and upgrade, as also repurposing. The proposal should address, develop cutting-edge remanufacturing approach and their integration into value chains, demonstrate manufacturing process that retain component functionality in at least 3 user cases, traceability aspects, quality control, and regulatory validation needs to be considered. It also will be important to introduce concepts such as flexible production, advanced machinery, smart mechatronics, collaborative machines. The proposal should also consider operational and economic viability along with the environmental impact. As already mentioned in the beginning, the human-centric approach to remanufacturing should be integrated. For that, we need a strategy for skills development, associating social partners where relevant. Proposals should take into account relevant EU regulations, such as Eco-Design Directive and Sustainable Product Framework. The proposal should also take into account the relevant international standards, as also activities supported under the Digital Europe program, as in the area of manufacturing data spaces and the Digital Product Passport initiative. The total indicative budget for the topic is 37.6 millions, and the expected contribution per project is 5 to 7 million euros. It's an innovation action, so we're talking about 70% of funding, and the activities are expected to start at TRL level 5 and achieve TRL 7 by the end of the project. That is all from my part for this topic. We can move to the next one.
Thank you, Georgios. The next topic is one of the topics in manufacturing that has, if you like, a more digital flavor than the others. That said, all topics in manufacturing are very, at the same time, digital and physical, because the two aspects are very closely linked in manufacturing and indeed in Cluster 4. Anyway, this is one of the topics that has a more digital flavor, and we are presenting this topic and the next topic instead of our colleagues in DG Connect, who are not available today. But of course, we work very closely to develop those topics for the reason I explained. Now, this topic is about resiliency in value networks through modeling and manufacturing as a service. Now, the background of this is, of course, on the one hand, the need for resilience in supply chains in manufacturing, and this need is very clear. And on the other hand, the capabilities that are afforded by digital technologies to enhance value chains and manufacturing networks. So this topic is to capitalize on digital technologies and data in order to support the resilience in value networks. And it's about that. If you look at the scope of the topic, you will see that it is essentially about developing models, digital twins of value chains, which will allow us to react and to understand and react to the impact of external events on industrial systems. And it is also about solutions that use these models in order to enhance the flexibility of manufacturing ecosystem and allowing cross-organization cooperation. Now, the expected outcomes are to have such reliable models, simulators, digital twins, the decision making, and the planning technologies for specific value networks, and also technologies that allow us to swiftly adapt the production and the logistics to varying external conditions. So ultimately, it is about smart manufacturing networks that are resilient and capable of self-adaptation in response to threats and disruptions, of which there are, of course, many. There is one more topic this year, or rather in 2023, a coordination support action that we will outline shortly. And also this topic is complemented by another one in 2024 that again looks at manufacturing as a service and decentralized manufacturing. But that is in 2024. Now, this topic has an indicative budget of 32 million with an EU contribution per project of 4 to 6 million. It is for research and innovation actions. So in this case, the funding is, of course, 100% for all partners. The starting TRL is free, and projects are expected to achieve a TRL of 6 by the end of the project. That is demonstrations in industrially relevant environments. Let us now move to the last topic under Made in Europe for 2023.
Okay, and for the last topic, it's a foresight and technology transfer for manufacturing as a service. It's a coordination and support action. Is again a topic under the European Partnership Made in Europe. The eligible cost will take the form of lump sum as defined in the corresponding decision. Again, a few words about the scope of the concept of manufacturing as a service is a distributed approach to production in which resources are offered as business-to-business services, allowing manufacturers to access distributed providers to implement their manufacturing processes. That helps to use resources more effectively and lowers the barrier of using new technologies for smaller companies. This more collaborative approach allows manufacturers to focus on product innovation and to be committed to their core mission. Projects are expected to perform a strategic foresight relevant to manufacturing as a service and digital technologies in manufacturing. The proposal should involve in this foresight exercise the manufacturing community at large and should include analysis of best practices to advance circularity, decarbonization, and sustainability of industrial production in the context of manufacturing as a service. Analysis of developments and trends, including the potential advantages and disadvantages regarding manufacturing as a service in comparison with centralized manufacturing. Recommendations for an EU manufacturing standardization strategy, focusing specifically on the role of data, and a roadmap for EU industry to transform and anticipate these changes. As a second outcome, the action should support the transfer of information and technologies between Horizon Europe projects and other relevant initiatives, such as manufacturing data spaces and the digital innovation hubs. Identification of strategies and best practices will take into account the evolving geopolitical situation. The activities will also include an effective dissemination campaign, like the organization of events and workshops to facilitate technology transfer and collaboration. And the specific focus should be given to best practices to support circularity and sustainability in industrial production, digital technologies in this context of manufacturing as a service. The total indicative budget for the topic is 1 million euros, which is also the expected contribution per project. So we're talking only about one proposal selected for funding. And with that, I think that we conclude the presentation of the topics for the manufacturing.
Thank you very much, Nicolas and Yorgos, for your in-detailed presentation. an explanation of the topics, I would like to invite everybody to go to slido.com and enter the event code InfoDay, and please submit your questions to our presenters relevant to each of the topic. And if a question is topic specific, please identify also the number behind it. So we have around 10 to 15 minutes to answer any potential questions. Please, if we can load them online, would be great. I give you some time to put them on. Thank you. So we have our first question on the topic 07, and I read for everybody: how are the roles of existing platforms, 4.0 services, marketplaces, etc., envisioned in the scope?
Yes, the existing platforms can, of course, be used. Incidentally, there is a link between the topics in manufacturing, including this one, and the support we provide in the Digital Europe program. But indeed, any relevant player can participate. Can participate in the proposals to the topic, and of course, the existing platforms may be used as appropriate. I hope this clarifies this. We
Thank you,
could
Nicholas.
consider a frequently asked question.
Second question is about skills and education capabilities for remanufacturing. What skills should be focused in the proposal?
Here we're talking about mainly skills focusing on circularity aspects.
And again, for topic 7, is there, like for remanufacturing, a strict definition of manufacturing as a service, and where to find it?
No, there isn't. In fact, these topics have undergone much development. Manufacturing as a service is but one aspect of the whole idea of super connected factories, of flexible value chains and digital twins. In this case, with the outcomes that I explained, but no, there is no strict definition of manufacturing as a service that you need to adhere to when making proposals. In general, manufacturing as a service is about the servitization of manufacturing, but you will see in the scope of the topic that the topic is essentially about modeling the manufacturing ecosystems and capitalizing on connected factories to improve flexibility and resilience.
Thank you, Nicholas. We have some minutes more, so if there are any more questions, please submit them on slido.com, and our colleagues will be more than happy to reply. Always remember that this information will be in the participant portal, where you will have the chance to ask more questions regarding the topics. So it seems we're ahead of time. We don't have more questions. And for the next part of the presentation, which is envisaged to start at 12:20, my colleague Ugo Miretti will be the moderator. So either we're going to have a small break and waiting to respect the timing, and then we will start again at 12:20 with the clean steel topics. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dimitrios. If there are any indication by the organizers, if we should rather keep the time or make most of the occasion and exploit the time, please let us know. In the meantime, I'll just upload the slides. Screen. Okay. No, sorry. I prefer to share my other screen. It's good we are ahead of time, so there is time to prepare these things. Yes.
Ugo, for are you talking about the next session then, or this one?
Yes, yes.
For clean steel, no. For clean steel, I think we should wait until 12:20 and rather have a short break.
Thanks, Matthias. No, that's what I thought, because some people might connect only for that session,
Exactly.
and it would be
Exactly.
disappointing
So
for them.
let's rather have a short break and announce that we're back at 12:20 for clean steel.
Agreed. Very well. So we start again in 20 minutes, and we'll, of course, switch to the clean steel topics. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Hugo, for taking over. And thanks for Nicolas and George for their presentation. And Matthias for helping. See you soon.